So even though I don't invest into urban markets, there's opportunity for a lot of you, especially if you don't have cash, to make significant investments for down payments into drive-in vacation rental markets or into larger properties. And even though I'm not an advocate of rental arbitrage, if it's a way that you're looking to get into this business, and a lot of people are, one, I would tell you to be very careful. Two, I would advise you to literally do a tremendous amount of analysis on what your cash flow is going to be before you sign a lease. Run the properties through AirDNA, see what the competition are doing, really identify the existing properties and see how you're going to be able to create value to increase your ADR. And then if you decide that doing rental arbitrage is right for you, then I do believe that now is actually a good time to break into that. And here's the reason why, is that occupancy, it is an all-time low inside of urban areas. Landlord owners, like even in this building right behind me, will do deals all day long, and it's a time that you can get in for little to no cash up front. There's a lot of landlords that own condos, own apartment buildings that are literally doing 30 days, sometimes even 60 to 90 days, depending on how desperate they are, to be able to do leases for people like you, short-term rental hosts that'll come in and sign a 1-year or a 2-year lease. Now understand that last part of that, signing a 1-year or 2-year lease to gain 30 days, 60 days, 90 days of no rent could mean $2,000, $4,000, $6,000 to where you're operating for free essentially by not paying rent. But what you have to understand, and you have to make the decision, does that mitigate your total investment by putting your credit and your name on that dotted line to sign that long-term lease worth it for you? That's why in the very front end, I want you to do the research to make sure that the minimal amount of cash flow every single month, you got to know what your rental cost, your renter's insurance cost, if you're leasing furnitures, or if you're going to make, a $7,500 investment, which is pretty typical for a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment, then you got to factor in how you're going to pay yourself back. So if you're only doing $1,000 a month in profit, I'm talking net income after all expenses, including taxes, that's $12,000. Now, if you made a $7,500 investment into furniture, that stuff's depreciating. There's going to be wear and tear on that. So by my math, $12,000 minus $7,500 is $4,500. I don't know about you, but I don't want the headache of managing, 50, 60, 70, 80 turns in a year to make less than $500 a month. Those are the considerations that you have to have, and you've got to be ready to go at scale. It's one thing to do it once, but if you're getting the arbitrage, you need to get to 10 properties and 20 properties as quickly as you can. That's where going in and getting those 30, 60, and 90-day discounts that typically we couldn't get pre-COVID. Now you can obtain those, and that's the only reason I would even consider going into arbitrage. Even though, me personally, I'm staying way far away from it because I do have the capital after being in the short-term rental business for the last 6 years to be able to continue to reinvest into my portfolio, but a lot of you don't. So number one recommendation is look at co-hosting first. Number two, if you're going to get into arbitrage, make sure you're taking advantage of these types of deals. They're everywhere. They're in Philadelphia, they're in New York, but most importantly, they're in Los Angeles. You look at the cities that have been ravaged by COVID the hardest, those are the ones where you're going to get the best deals. If you come down into the South and you look at Birmingham, Alabama, Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando, Nashville, Atlanta, the deals there's not as many deals that are there because we have been open since essentially May of last year. But there are things to be able to take advantage of. Just make sure you do your due diligence. And if this has provided any value for you, make sure you smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.